What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Traumatic Tomes. It is a fabulous day here in the DC area. Feels like spring has come. I'm just in a short sleeve shirt and I'm sweating, so this is a lot better than the last few months have been. Getting some vitamin D and such. But today, coming to you with a video about the Traumatic Book Club. It's the book club that I just started recently on this channel, and I'm going to be reviewing our February pick, or my pick, which was All Quiet on the Western Front, a 1929 novel by Erich Remarque. And this is, well, the front of this was a Ballantine book, mass market paperback. It says the greatest war novel of all time. But yes, it is regarded as one of the greatest pieces of war fiction ever. And just the one sentence summary of this book is that it follows the perspective of a young German soldier during World War I, throughout the entire war, or a few years of the war at least. So, Traumatic Book Club, if you don't know what that entails, it's a semi-monthly read-along on this channel where we try to read books that deal with traumatic topics like war, suffering, torture, stuff like that. It's not like a sadistic reading club. There's no like splatter porn or like stuff like that. It's supposed to be serious and reflective of how the world can be and how suffering can be inspirational too. So, All Quiet on the Western Front, I finished it like a month ago or so it's been a little bit, but it certainly fit the bill for trauma. There were a ton of really horrifying and graphic sequences in this book. I mean, of course, you're on the Western Front in France. I'm not sure the exact location or locations that our characters were at, but I think it was somewhere along the front in France. And I used all over. There is most of the violence is through shelling. Both sides sending explosive shells at each other. So you see a lot of blown up bodies or wounded people with missing limbs, missing jaws, bleeding out, stuff like that. Really graphic stuff. Characters are often going into hospitals, whether they're wounded or they're visiting somebody they know. So there's a lot of people who have no hope to live, and as a friend or a comrade, like, what do? If you're trying to reassure someone that you know is going to die soon. I guess the answer is you just pretend they're not going to. Say it's going to be okay or whatever. But yeah, quick summary. I know I did the one sentence summary, but I'll go into like some spoiler-free plot points right now, and I'll tell you what I liked about the book. And I don't know if I really disliked anything, but yeah, that's how it's gonna be. So we follow our main character, Paul Baumer, who's a young German male who has enlisted in the German army for the Great War, World War I, with a bunch of his classmates, who they were all inspired by one of their jingoist teachers. And jingoism is a term for kind of like war hawks who are very nationalistic, and they love war, and they try to get people involved in the war. It was talked about a lot on both sides in World War I. just kind of like ginning up support for the army, the good old boys in their fight. But World War One was really crappy because of well, all war is crappy, but technology advanced further than tactics, I think is one way we could say that. And so there was a lot more mass slaughter than prior wars. Things have been taken to another level. So we have all these young German kids, like Paul, the main character, Kropp, Mueller, Theoden, some other guys. So that's like our main bunch of characters. They also hang out with a older guy named Kat. It's like Kaczynski or something. He was like 40 years old. He's a reservist, but he's kind of like the mentor figure of this group. And we basically like follow all their exploits throughout the war, like going up to the front line, surviving bombardment of the shells, visiting their wounded friend in the hospital, and there's kind of a tragic, like moral question of should they take their friend's boots, who is dying, or should they let him keep his boots until he dies, but then the nurses will take the boots immediately. So they're saying, like, should we just like grab this guy's stuff, or should we not? And it's more powerful than I might have explained it. You're like, sorry, there's a dog barking now. Other interesting moments that I liked, I'll just be like broad and spoiler free, I think. There's a weird sense of like optimism that all the soldiers get from basic necessities, and the fact that they often on the front lines you are not subject to anything good. So even the fact that you get more rations because a lot of your regiment or unit has died, and the cook ordered more food because you used to have more people. That fact of having more food is reassuring to the survivors, who are still in survival mode. Like they're not. The fact that people got mowed down next to them, like it tracks less because they're still in this like animal instinct that most people are not in outside of war. And another key theme is kind of the disconnect between the regular soldier and the officers or the people who run the war, started the war, which is a pretty timeless theme for war books. It's always like, who got us into this mess? Like they're not the ones getting slaughtered by the thousand. Like these people are back in their headquarters just ordering our deaths while us foot soldiers are just running into machine gun fire. So there's a lot of bitterness and resentment from the German soldiers on this side because they of course have realized that it's just peasants on the other side too that they're fighting. It's not like neither side, like the large majority of people are not here, are not evil. They're just fighting for their country, and they've been tricked or induced into this full-on war because of a select group of people on either side who, the generals or the political leaders who have started this whole thing. So throughout the whole novel is this bitterness against those people, the jingos, just any civilian who doesn't understand what's going on. There's a particularly poignant scene in this novel when Paul, the main character, is granted a couple weeks of leave to go home, and that was kind of like the worst time in the book for him. Not when he's fighting or getting shelled, but when he realizes that there's really nothing. He has family back home, but like there's nothing back home for him that makes sense for him anymore. Like all he knows is war. He didn't have much before he went off. He was just a kid. He wasn't like one of the adults who had a established family, like a wife, kids. He had nothing really. So the early part of the war like kind of formed and molded him as a young man. So that was all he had. And then when he goes on leave back to his hometown, there's just people asking him questions about the war, which aren't really appropriate. But of course, these people don't know like what's actually been going on, and there's a really powerful resentment, I think, that he starts to feel at the quiet civility of non-war. I didn't say what I wanted to say there, but you know what I mean, I think, I hope. So, yeah. But I'm gonna read I guess it's a epigraph, not an epigraph, whatever Erich Maria Remarque wrote in the beginning, before the novel started. He said, "This book is to be neither an accusation nor a confession, and least of all an adventure. For death is not an adventure to those who stand face to face with it. It will try simply to tell of a generation of men who, even though they may have escaped shells, were destroyed by the war." So, All Quiet on the Western Front, a incredibly tragic book, fits the bill for the Traumatic Book Club. I thought it was an amazing novel. I gave it 5 stars. It's not something you really want to read because it is kind of hard to get through, but Remarque writes beautifully. I think he captures the spirit of comradeship and the soldier's mindset in the midst of war, and how there's so much bad, but there's also this animalistic kinship that keeps people together. But there's also just rampant hopelessness and despair and brutality, and yeah, it's just a powerful and sad book from 1929. This is translated by A.W. Ween, W-H-E-E-N. This translation is in the public domain if you want to read it from Project Gutenberg and download it to your e-reader or read it on the web. Yeah, I really recommend this to anybody who wants to read a war novel. Yeah, thanks for watching, and if you're in a place where the weather has warmed up, I hope you're enjoying that now. We may be due for some cold coming up soon, but yeah, enjoy the warmth while you can.